Hi guys, and welcome back to a very special episode of the Final Third. Joining me today is none other than Nathan Mavila, former West Ham graduate turned Calvary FC left back. Nathan, very nice to have you
Thanks
here
for
today.
having me, man.
No
Thanks
problem.
for having me, bro. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's hot as hell. That's why I'm wearing this vest. Like, usually in the house, wouldn't expect to be down like this, but London's done changed now, man.
Yeah, for real.
Wailing over there. Where you at? What country you're in right now?
So I'm in Canada, but we're on an island called Prince Edward's Island.
All right.
It's another island because we're meant to have our season, but obviously we can't travel because like traveling here is like it's not like taking coaches or trains.
Yeah, it's like planes everywhere. Everywhere.
Wow. So we couldn't do that because of cross contamination. So we're in like a sort of bubble. I don't know if you've watched the NBA and stuff.
NBA, okay, so
and the MLS, but they created a sort of bubble where it's like all the teams in one hotel.
It's so crazy.
And you just stay here for like 6 weeks. Yeah.
So you're seeing all around the hotel. You're seeing the guys that you got to face off against later on in the season, basically.
Exactly that, bro. Exactly that.
Crazy. That was literally going to be my first question. Like, what was the Canadian response? You being over there, what was their response to the COVID situation? Like, did everything have to shut down? Like, how's getting back onto the pitch been?
It's been good. Obviously, it's been like everywhere else, isn't it? Like nowhere has been open. Everywhere has been closed. It's been frustrating because obviously you're at home, and when it's first started, you don't understand the situation there.
Yeah.
But over some time, like it goes from the Zoom calls to, one-to-one training to group training, small group training, then big group training, then team training, then eventually playing against each other. So it's been a process, but eventually got there, man.
As you said, you must be excited to be back on the pitch, though.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it's tough because the last game, by the time we play our game, our first game is this Thursday. By the time we play, it's going to be 10 months since we last played. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of rust.
We ended the season in November. So we're going to play again now, mid-August. So it's going to be mad.
Yeah, man. As long as we got the football back, that's what's important, I guess.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Most definitely.
All right, so this is going to be. I want this to be your story. So I want you to tell me all the way back to when you was a kid. Like, how did you first get into competitive football?
Obviously started off in the amateurs, playing Sunday league. There was a guy who lived on like my state. His name is Stedman Scott, and he sort of like pioneered a team called a Fiwi. It just stands for it's for us in like Patois Jamaican.
Okay.
Fiwi, if you kind of break it down. And so I played for them, and obviously he spotted me playing football in the area and said, "Oh, come down, train with him." Trained with him for a bit, and then eventually started playing for the team. And that started at around 7-8 years old, and then fast forward went on to secondary school. In year 7, was still playing for them, but then eventually I started playing for the school team in secondary school, and then played for South London District. Captain them, played for inner London schools, captain them, and then in year 8 was still playing for all of them teams, but we played against Wickham. I don't know if you know Michael Carnegie, but he was the manager of South London, and obviously Mr. Lansico.
South London legend right there.
And then so they organised the game against Wickham. We played against them, and then 3 of us got signed, and then that's where it all started, really. And obviously at like 16, I had to stop playing for like South London, stop playing for like in London, because obviously football was getting quite serious, and couldn't really afford for injuries and that. So
another thing I want to ask is that you said you tell me about you were playing all of these different teams. Like, when did it dawn on you that you was maybe a bit better than some of the people in your age group, and this might actually be like a viable career? Or did it ever dawn on you?
From the beginning, Like from the beginning, like you have this feeling where like like it's even though like I wasn't the best, like in primary school and secondary school, I wasn't the best. Do you know what I mean? But I was good, but I knew what I was capable of. I knew
Yeah.
my strengths, and that was enough to convince me that I can make it. Like I didn't really like. I was my own competition. Obviously, when you're young, you look across the faces of other people and you see how good they are, and
Yeah.
it can be threatening. It can be like a threat, but again, like I just knew my strengths. I didn't care what no one else thought. I knew that if I played to my strengths, that's enough for me, and that was it really.
So, like, growing up, there's some people that live in households where maybe their parents want them to become a doctor or engineer or something like that. Was there any real resistance from like family or internally to you becoming a footballer? Was that always the dream for you?
Yeah. So when I think I was in primary school. I remember I had a conversation with my dad. My school team obviously asked me to play, and my dad was like, "Are you sure?" Like it's tough because he played when he was younger,
Yeah.
but at a very low level. But he knew how tough it was, and he was just saying like, "Look, are you sure? Like it's much more guaranteed to do these type of careers and that type of careers." And I was like, "There's nothing more that interests me." And I was like, "Yeah, it's got to be football." And he just said the agreement was that look, if you play football, you got to do well in school. No school. If you don't do well in school, then no football kind of thing.
Mm.
And that's how it went. And obviously done well in school, and obviously done good too in football.
So you told me about how you first got scouted by Wycombe Wanderers. I believe it was alongside Jordan former Bournemouth Liverpool
Yeah,
player and another player.
yeah.
Um, at that moment, I remember because obviously coming from South London as well, there was a lot of fanfare alongside you and Jordan's name in that academy. Was it hard to keep grounded at that time, considering the type of teams
Mm.
you was getting linked to?
Um, it was quite easy to keep grounded,
Mm.
because at the time it was like you know what's gonna happen. So like prior to the academy closing down, like for example, I was 14, and I got scouted by Arsenal, and I was training with Arsenal, so I was still at Wycombe, and I was training at Arsenal, and then I put that one of my teammates, Jordan Brown. Now that's how I met him, and we stayed really good friends from then. But it was teams coming in, so you knew that you had something, and you knew
Yeah,
that something was gonna pop. It was just a matter of time. So it was just like back then there wasn't social media kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like social media was popping. It wasn't like how it is now. So it's
yeah.
like keep
Okay.
grounded. It was just keeping grounded around your friends and around your family, and it was nothing to prove to the world. Do you know what I mean?
Most definitely. So let's talk about moving on to West Ham after the Wickham Academy closes. Did you feel any added expectation when you made that switch? Because you spoke about how you were scouted by Arsenal, but you've made the move to West Ham after leaving Wickham. Was there any added expectation stepping up to a Premier League club, seeing the route that a lot of other famous West Ham graduates have taken? Was there any added pressure to make accompanying that move?
Um, I think the only pressure I added was on myself,
Mm.
because you see, like, you go from a club where you're the big fish in the small pond, and then you go to a bigger pond where you're the small fish.
Yeah,
So it's a complete different thing. So you go to a club where players have been in the system, around good players for longer than you have, and so the only pressure you have is on yourself to be better every single day. That's what my pressure was. Um, I remember on my first week, we trained, and then I think the week after we played against Man City, I scored. Then the week after that, I played in a friendly for the first team against Southend, and it was like it all went on quick. But it's like,
yeah.
had I not done well and I'm not doing well, then those things don't come.
That
And
opportunity
so
wouldn't
when
even be there.
adversity hits, you think about exactly. So when adversity hits, you think about how well you're doing before, and you compare your now, and you're like, and you don't really see the bigger picture.
Mm.
So it's just unnecessary pressure that I put on myself, Sometimes that, changes things. But apart from that, like I genuinely think my only competition is myself. So I don't really see like pressure from the outside, except for my family. They don't really put pressure on me, but it's just like my dad used to come to every game, and so he was critical of me, and then obviously I'll take that on board. And again, I'll just be critical of myself, and just want to improve. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
So thinking about the West Ham Academy, you think about graduates such as Rio Ferdinand, Jermaine Defoe, Joe Cole, like storied England internationals. Even more recently, Declan Rice come through. What did you take from that your time at the West Ham Academy, which you would go on to use to become a professional? What did you take? What did you learn from your time at the academy?
What you're doing is never enough. Like you've got to always like want more. You can't be content, because at a Premier League club, it's not like a Championship League 1, League 2 club where they can't afford sometimes to buy a £2 million, £3 million player from abroad.
Yeah.
But anytime you're not doing well, they can just, for example, go to Brazil, go to somewhere, just buy a player because they got the money, they can do it, they can afford it. So you've always got to be on your A game. A different one off the pitch is keeping good relationships. Keeping good relationships with everyone, because you never know who you're going to need in the future.
Yeah, football is definitely such it's a contact sport. You need to have good relationships.
The connection game. Exactly.
Most definitely.
Exactly. If you see so many players in the Prem, in Champ, and League 1, League 2, it's just a connection thing, Yeah, and apart from that, be yourself. Like, don't let your environment consume you, but instead impose your personality on the environment, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people, for example, they remember you and they like you because of who you are as an individual. When you just fit in, no one remembers you. And that's on and off the pitch. Like, be yourself, like express yourself, kind of thing, and just be you, and you enjoy it.
It's brilliant advice. Talk to me about when you made the bench for the European trip for West Ham's qualifier. What was that moment like for you?
It was good. It was good. It was a step up, because it's like it's a step up in terms of experiences. Like you're used to experiencing and under 18s, experiencing the under 21s, and then it's a step up to now the first team. So I was training with them regularly anyway.
Yeah.
But it was a thing where that year I spent all pre-season with them, and then we came back from pre-season tour, and then I got home, and then we were training back with the under 23, so everyone went back to their ages, and then they just needed some numbers for the first team, and we were told on the pitch, just make sure you look at the board before you go home. Some of you might be involved in the game, but I genuinely didn't think I was going to be involved. Then I just literally went inside, looked on the sheet, I saw my name. I was like, whatever, like that's not me. Looked away, looked back again, and I saw, yeah, that's me.
You had to do the double tick.
The double check. Like you look away, you look again, you see your name. Like cool. So literally, it was a day after. So I literally had to go home, pack my bags, get ready, and it was an unreal experience, man. Like it was like you get to the airport. It's a different airport. It's a chartered plane, just you guys on the plane. I was so bush back then. Like I thought, I got on the plane. And I was sitting next to one of my teammates, Leo Chambers, and they asked me, "Oh, do you want food?" And there I'm thinking like, you've got to pay for it. So I said, "No,
I'm so finished.
I'm good." And the guy's looking at me like, "Why are you not taking the food?" I'm like, "Well, you've got to pay for it." He's like, "Don't be stupid, bro." So
that's all part of the learning curve. All part of the learning curve.
Yeah. You get there, you get down off the plane. There's a coach literally right by the plane, and there's about 20 police cars, 5 police motorbikes escorting you.
Surreal.
You're running red lights. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And you're thinking like, all this just to get you to a hotel, bro. You know what I mean? That's crazy. You get there, and then like, there's guards at the hotel, and You know, everything's scheduled properly. And, you know, you don't get that much attention playing at under 23, under 18 level.
Mm.
And then you get to like the training ground, so much media waiting there. And then you get to the game, same thing, like escorting you. And then the game starts kind of thing, and it's hostile, volatile. Like those countries are crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy that you can't, you're about 20 yards from the fans. There was a big barrier, metal barrier, like sort of cages sort of thing, because fans are liable to throw stuff at you. You know what I mean? And it's crazy out there. Very humid, I remember. And yeah, man, the game was just crazy, like very, very crazy. Very, very crazy. But probably one of the best.
And imagine to step into that sort of like
Yeah.
cauldron sort of environment as a youngster. I believe he was like 18 or 19 at most. To step into that sort of environment must have been
19.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
man. It was crazy, man.
So coming to the end of your time at West Ham, is there a reason why you wasn't offered an extended deal at the end of your time, or?
So there was a new head of academy director, sort of, and you just get the vibe, you
Yeah.
know, like you get the vibe that he's not feeling you. You're not his type of player, and so that's that. I'm not too bothered, and so I went out on loan a couple of times. I went, you know, to non-league. I went to Aldershot, and at that time I didn't have an agent, so I'm literally doing it off my own back.
Yeah. So it was you kind of having to liaise in terms of trying to get another deal. It was just you by yourself, or?
Yeah. So like it was just me and my dad really. Like it was me sorting out my own loan deals. Like no one sorting out loan deals, and you know, like looking back, it didn't make sense going to non-league kind of thing. But it is what it is kind of thing, and it made me who I am today.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't really playing me, so I thought there's no point me being at the club. And this was from the get-go. So he was just doing a lot of funny things. So I just said, you know what, I'll just go non-league and just play. I don't care. Do you know what I mean? So I went to Wildstone, had a very good loan, done really well. And then I remember I came back, and then he kind of forced me out again to Aldershot, which was the league above, so National League. And he said, I've got a good friend, whatever, and he'll play you and whatever, and he's interested. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll go. Went there, didn't play for the month. And him and the manager said, we think it would be best if you stayed another month. And I said, it doesn't make sense. I'm here to play football.
Okay,
You guys not play me. So I left. Yeah, I left and I came back. And I remember I came back, and then they offered to cut my contract short early. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. Because obviously I still need to play.
Yeah.
I still need to train and keep myself fit. So off that moment, they just didn't offer me a new contract. They'd done a big clear out. I think they released about 8-9 players that season. Season after, kind of the same thing. So it was like
kind of clearing
to
the
put it in
older
the best way possible. Yeah, to put it in the best way possible. It was a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
You know, it was more off the pitch stuff than on the pitch stuff.
Wow.
You know, it's a business at the end of the day. Football. It's not all got to do with the pitch. It's got to do with how can this benefit me.
Do you want to shed some light on? Do you want to shed some light? Do you want to shed further light?
It's tough. It's tough to explain. It's tough to explain, but all I can say is football's politics. You know, it's like it's a lot to do with a lot of head of academies nowadays are linked with agents, and so with that, you know, you can only imagine if that agent's pushing a certain player, that certain player's got to play, right?
Yeah.
There's so much more in terms of if a head of academy knows that he can make money off a player, if a head of academy has got a certain relationship with the player's dad, you know, it's all got to do with a lot of stuff.
It's the ugly side of the game. Ugly side of the game.
Yeah, 100%. And there was a lot of talent in our age and in our my youth team and my pro team, my under 21 team. So it's very tough And sometimes I don't understand it, how not
So
one
many of them
or,
fell through the cracks.
so many didn't make it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's crazy. It's very, 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 very crazy.
So moving on, post West Ham, you sort of went to a couple clubs. I think you didn't really stay more than one season at a club for a couple of years. You had to spell out Leyton Orient as well. What was it like leaving kind of the protection of academy football, the sort of bubble of academy football where you're constantly playing under 18, under 23 games, constantly, like, you know what you're going to be doing. What was it like moving from that to the professional game or the semi-professional game?
Reality, bro.
Yeah.
Reality. Like, literally just reality. Like, you get a big reality check. Like, you see that you were, like, just in a bubble. Like, when you're in the bubble, you don't see anything outside of it. And so I went to Maidstone right after a few trials, and my last trial I went on was to Charlton, and the manager was Jason Ewell.
Yeah,
and he liked me, but he said that the first team manager didn't. He wanted, I just wasn't his player, kind of thing, his type of player, and so he said he recommended me to his friend Jay Saunders, who was the manager at Maidstone at the time. Got them back-to-back promotion from the Ryman to Conference South to Conference Prem. And so I went there, had a few sessions, done well. And then, just got him playing. And the crazy thing about it was, I was there, I think, 4 months, wasn't paid, and that was reality.
Yeah.
And then, you've got to look at other solutions of actually finding, like, coaching jobs or starting something of your own, so that you can be flexible with your time, so you can fit around football and get paid to fund your own life. And yeah, that was part of the reality check. And then come December, we were in the relegation zone, and obviously the manager was under scrutiny and under pressure for his job, and so we let go of a lot of the young players, and signed a lot of experience, and fair play to him. I think they stayed up that season. And then I went to Cambridge City, just to get some games and just to enjoy football again.
Yeah.
So I went there, played a couple of games, but it was too far. So I went back to Wildstone in January just for the rest of the season. And then at the end of that season, it was dry. Like, no one was calling my phone, nothing, bro. And so I went on trial to Leyton Orient, which is a crazy story. I went on trial to Leyton Orient, didn't get in. That was when they got relegated to the Conference Prem. Went on trial to Leyton Orient, didn't get in. And after that, my phone was dry, and Wingate and Finchley called. So I went to Wingate and Finchley, and I was playing there. And I played, I think, about 45 games that season. And that was from pre-season, the start of the season, cup games and everything, right up until February. And then in January, Leyton Orient got a new manager. And in February, they actually signed me.
Yeah.
So which was pretty cool. But then it was like I left Wingate, signed for Leyton Orient, and then I got to Orient, and it was another type of adversity where the manager was like, "I've sent my assistant manager to come see the technical director and everyone else, but I have never seen you to play before."
So you kind of got to prove yourself again.
I just want you. Do you know what I mean? And so he said, "I want you to kind of be competition for my first left back. We haven't got a second left back." So I said, "All right, cool." I signed the same day as the technical director's son. Good guy, good player, and so we cracked on with the second half of the season. It was good to be around that sort of environment, and it was good to just be involved. But after every game, you're just kind of questioning, like, is this guy going to play me? And it got from, are you going to play me? What's going on? To him kind of ignoring me. Rest in peace, by the way. It was Justin Enningborough, very, very good guy. I really wanted to attain something great. wanted to attain something great, and in the end, really did. Very good guy, but he just had to do what he had to do for the team, right? So in that sense, I understand, but in a selfish sense, I didn't quite understand. Obviously,
for the player, you still need to try to get your games. I'm going back
100%.
Going back quickly to leaving post West Ham. You said that you came out of the bubble and you faced real life. Do you feel like there's enough support for youngsters coming out of the academy who's been promised that you're definitely going to make it in football? They definitely see themselves going down that route, and all of a sudden it's taken away. Do you feel like there's enough support for young players who, as you say, kind of slip through the cracks and don't get that route to the professional game?
There's a lot of talent, and it's a mental thing. Like it's the battle of the toughest. You know what I mean? Like if you're not tough, it's very easy for you to stop playing football.
Yeah.
Because financially now you haven't got an income. Secondly, now you're a statistic. Like you're one of the ones that got released. So now you're gonna have to go against the statistic and battle your way through. Whatever route you decide to take is whatever route you decide to take, but you've literally got to fight until like another opportunity comes. And so I could only say my real route was Wingate. Like that's when I really started enjoying my football again. Played my best football, just enjoyed and expressed myself, and was under a chairman that just really said like just do your thing kind of thing, and he was open to all types of things after that would still come.
So during your spell when you were kind of struggling, you said that the firm was dead, nothing was really coming through. What was it that helped you get through, keep mentally strong, keep the faith as well that an opportunity would come?
It was definitely faith, because it was weird, because every time I felt to kind of give up, you'd kind of get like a reminder why you shouldn't. And obviously I don't believe that like my personal beliefs are like nothing just happens like that. Everything happens for a reason. And so that was kind of me just saying like, all right, just give it another crack, keep it going. And something little would happen, something little would happen that will open the door, that will open another door. And yeah, that was pretty much it. I just kept my faith kind of up. I had good people around me, like my parents, my family, and a couple individuals that I had around, and that was enough for me to kind of carry on going.
So for the boys and girls that may be in a similar situation to you, that would be your advice to them: just the faith, the little bit of faith, little idea that you have, just keep that going and keep waiting until the next opportunity.
Yeah, most definitely.
So let's go on to your current club.
Yeah, most definitely.
Amazing opportunity. You are in Canada. How did that come about?
It's weird because there was an agent who, the agent that actually brought me out here, his brother actually contacted me right after West Ham. Okay. And he said, come out to America, but like once you're in the kind of UK bubble and the UK's kind of hype, you think that the only way in football is Europe, right?
Yeah.
And so I kind of declined and said, nah, I'm not interested in whatever. And so left it. And as I said earlier, every time you feel to give up, something comes up, right? And so fast forward 3 years, I am at Hampton and Richmond, doing okay. We played against Oldham on TV in the FA Cup. I think it was on BT Sports.
Yeah, BT Sports.
Then I left in February to join Dulwich Hamlet to play because it's closer to home, and it's one of those clubs I always wanted to play for. And it's just, it was so much more convenient. And so at that time I had joined university and I was studying, and I'm still studying sports science. And I just thought, like, maybe I'm not progressing and maybe this is not enough and whatever, and I might as well just give up. the brother of the agent that first contacts me and says, "Oh, there's a club in Canada looking for a left back." So I'm just like, all right, cool. Now I've got a decision to make. And then I just said, you know what? Like, if he's serious, tell him to kind of calm down or give me a call, whatever, like let's arrange something and let's have a proper conversation. And funnily enough, the manager was actually coming to the UK for a couple of meetings and whatever. So we actually met up. And we had a few conversations over the phone, over FaceTime or whatever. And it just made sense. And it was just like, look, just if there's an opportunity, take it. And I spoke to my dad and he was saying the same thing, like, look, you've been waiting for an opportunity and whatever. And, you know, opportunities come in different forms. It can't just come in the way you want it.
Yeah.
And so just took it. Had a good first season. Obviously, we won. They split the season into two, so they have a spring and fall season. We won both of them. And then the person who comes second overall, you have to play them in a championship two-legged match.
Yeah,
you play them in a two-legged match, and obviously we lost to them over 2 legs, 1-0, 1-0. But apart from that, you know, we played against MLS opposition like the Vancouver Whitecaps. We beat them. We played Montreal Impact. I mean, it was just amazing to see, like, there's football outside of Europe.
Yeah.
There's players that have played in like countries like Mexico, players that have played in countries like Brazil, in the US like MLS, and you see that it's actually a good standard. People write it off, and
that's exactly what I wanted to speak to you about. Like on these shows, there's a conception about North American football and the standard there. Like, what can you tell me, experiencing it? You said you played against teams such as the Vancouver Whitecaps. What can you tell me about the standard of football in North America?
Bro, the standard of football in North America is good, man. Like, especially, like, you got South America too. You know, you got countries like, as I said, like Brazil, Mexico, all other countries, and the MLS and stuff. Like, bro, it's a good standard. Like, very, very good standard. You know, like you got players that are coming from like Prem clubs, Spain, Italy, to go all play in the MLS. You got young players who there's a player who either got released or left Spurs to join Montreal Impact. You got Victor Wanyama that plays for them. You know, you got big players with big names that actually play out there and they're enjoying it. Last season we played against Sanya. I played against Sanya, who was obviously he was on the back end of his career, but you can still see that he's still at a good level.
Yeah.
And you got, you know, and it's crazy. But until you get out of the UK, you will never ever understand that there's football outside of the UK and Europe.
You talked about how opportunities come in so many different ways. What would you tell young players that may be scared to take that leap and leave England, let alone not even talking about Europe, not even talking about North America or America? Like, what would you tell them about international opportunities?
Number one, like, make sure you have good contacts. Like, make a LinkedIn, make your Instagram and Twitter presentable, because you never know what agent might stumble across it, right?
Yeah.
And so if they do stumble across it, they should stumble over good content and, you know, present yourself in the best possible way. That's my personal belief. And secondly, like, if an opportunity comes, like, especially if you're young, don't worry about the finances, because the money will come eventually. You know what I mean? It's all about, like, proving yourself, because playing academy level, playing under 23s level, it's not something a manager will say, oh, fair enough, like, let's bring him in and play him every game kind of thing. You know, you don't know what it feels like to fight for your literal life because you don't want to get relegated, or, you know, you got to play for this amount of points or something. Do you know what I mean? There's more on the line and more at stake than at academy level or under 23s level. And so go out there, make the leap. Like, it's all about experiences. And once you get that experience, there's no manager that can say he doesn't have experience, because at 20 years old, you could have 15, 20 games in the first team, and now you're an established first team player, you know? And you're no longer an academy player, and your status changes and everything changes. But if you're just comfortable being a 23s player, it kind of limits your chances of actually making it into the first team kind of thing, you know? So I always encourage people in the 23s, 18s, go out on loan. Like, go out on loan, experience what it's like to be around men, you know, that have family, kids, and, you know, they see football in a different light, and it changes your mentality.
I spoke to a non-league manager on the same platform, and he basically echoed your same thoughts, that there's something that playing in the professional games, men that are fighting for their lives down there, I'm trying to get promotion or relegation, it's something that you don't experience while you're playing the 18s and 23s. Like, it's an experience you need to go
Most
through if you want
definitely.
to graduate to that next level.
Definitely.
So speaking about Cavs, Calvary FC, my bad. Calvary FC's
Mm,
2019 season. You won the regular season, then you won the
mm,
full season. But unfortunately, you fell short
mm-hmm.
in the championship finals. What do you think went wrong in
Yeah.
that final game and the final two legs?
What went wrong? I don't know, man. It was like I don't think we created enough. That was one. And number two, I think that, I don't know, man. You know when it's just not your day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just not your day, kind of thing. It was a mad one. Like, it's just one I can't explain. But, you know, we did have several chances in the second leg that could have, you know, potentially won us the game, and got us to where we need to be. But it just wasn't our day. It just wasn't our day. And I can't make any excuses, because I thought that the whole team gave 100%, from the backroom stuff right up to the players and the fans and everything. But it just wasn't our days. The stars didn't align, bro. And when it's that you can't make any excuses. It is what it is.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to the new season, what's the Calvary FC's aims for the new season? Considering you went all the way to the finals last season, are you looking to go one up this season?
The aim is to win the whole thing, man. You know, as a player, you just want to win things once you're at the pro status, right? So, in fact, at any level, non-league, pro, you just want to win anything you can. So, yeah, that's the aim, to win the whole tournament, and just to progress, really, man.
So there's a couple of questions I just want to ask about living in Canada, because I think a lot of people in London and in England, they always say, "Oh, I want to go live in Canada." What's the life like in Canada? What's the life like in Canada?
It's pretty cheap, pretty cheap to live, so it's definitely affordable. There's a lot of opportunities, bro. Like, a lot. Like, people wouldn't believe the amount of opportunities there are here. In sports, outside of sports. It's so crazy. Like, people would coach on a part-time basis. Coaching here is a full-time job, and that's at amateur level.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
full time at amateur.
you get amateur level, you get a salary, bro.
Yeah.
You know, there's people coaching, getting good money, and living off that. You know, got families and houses, mortgages off coaching. Crazy, and that's not at pro level. You know, it's obviously the only downside for me is just the winter. Like, the winter's crazy, like crazy
It's as
cold.
bad as they say.
Yeah, 100%. Like, the snow is mad. But besides that, bro, like, it's a friendly country. The people are mad friendly. They will help you at all costs. Like, all costs. Like, they will help you, going out of their way just to help you. Like, it's unreal the way, like, people actually help you. And, like, there's countless amount of stories of when, you know, people have helped, and it's mad. You know, it's just crazy. Like, even in the UK,
Canada's got that. Canada's got that, like, that aura of everyone's so nice, but I thought maybe it was just played up for the TVs, but it's actually how it is out there.
No, bro. Like, seriously nice. There was one of my teammates. He's got a family, and obviously he's from the UK, and obviously his family obviously had to go back due to this COVID, and we're traveling. The ticket price was obviously around. The ticket price for his family to go back was, you know, over a couple grand, and, you know, one of the fans hooked him up with a way better deal, way under 50% of it. You know, helped him, and it's crazy just to come out and pop up and say, "Look, I help you." And it's unreal, and it's unheard of, you know. And Canadians are just different breeds, man. Different breeds.
I'm sure your team and your manager wouldn't want me asking this, but what are your plans for the future? Can we expect to see you on this side of the Atlantic again soon, or because you seem like you're enjoying your time abroad and you might not want to bring that to a close? But what are your plans for the future?
Like I enjoy it here. I genuinely enjoy it. You know, it's just about what's presented to me. What's presented to me at the current moment is Calvary, so that is what it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only way it could be Europe is if it's, you know, a great opportunity that you can't let up on, and that is without saying, like, you know, if anyone gets a way better opportunity just to push yourself and to really, you know, see where you can get to the highest of your ability, you'd assess the option, right? But at the minute, it's Calvary, bro. I'm enjoying it here. It's nice. It's a good life. I just can't complain. You know, I can't complain.
Yeah. So you spoke about going to university while you was after you left West Ham, and psychologist is something that you want to do in the future. Where did that come about from?
So 1 second. So that came about from so obviously I'm doing sports science at the minute.
Yeah.
And obviously the long-term aim is to hopefully graduate from that and then go into sports psychology or some sort of psychology as a master's. Now that sort of stemmed from like my own mental condition and having to overcome certain things. And you don't understand how powerful the mind is until you put it to the test. It's just like the body. If I was to give you a weight and the weight looked big, but the weight was very light, but you hadn't lifted it yet, you won't know what you're capable of until you lift it, right? And that's exactly like the mind. You know, a lot of us think that the mind is a taboo subject, and if someone who goes into like a mental institution is someone that is crazy, just like how the body gets sick, the mind can get sick. And so in that fashion, it should be a norm that everyone is well educated on the mind. And I think that with football, it's for me, I think that it's a 95% mental game. And why I say that is because everyone has that 5% ability. You won't be in football if you don't have the ability or talent, right? But it's, do you have the mindset? And so many players slip through the cracks and slip through and don't make it because their mental strength is not up to scratch. And so if I can help someone get their mental strength up to scratch and show them that, okay, this little hiccup that's happened in your career is not the be all end all, and you've got so much to attain and achieve, that person might go on another 5% and then achieve what they were meant to achieve. But if they don't know how strong they are mentally, then they'll never be able to achieve it.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Just a final question I like to ask people that I interview. So let's imagine you've got the championship final. You're in charge of the speaker in the changing room. What are you playing to get the team hyped up?
I'm not really that kind of guy, you know.
I'm not
really that kind of guy.
Never been given the DJ duties.
I don't want it.
You don't want
I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. Simply because I don't like imposing my taste on other people. So I mean, so it's just one of those things where it's just like I listen to what I listen to, kind of thing. But mostly I'm most like Afro R&B, old school R&B, like not like the new drill and stuff. Like, I don't really listen to that. But like the old school R&B-ish and songs that make sense, and I enjoy stuff like that.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, Nathan, it's been fantastic talking to you. Yeah. I really learned a lot. I'm
Most
hearing your story. And wish you all the best for your time in Canada, and all the best for the future.
Yeah, love, man.
And the final third, guys.
Appreciate it.
No problem, man. No problem. Guys, thank you for watching another episode of the Final Third. Make sure you subscribe for all this sort of content. Much more coming on the way as well. Thank you for watching.